All right, we are going to look at copying tables and charts into a Word document. So to start with, make sure you've got, we're in Gus's Groceries, and make sure you have a Word document. So let's see how this is going to work. When you're copying a table, you're going to select the whole table. So I'm going to highlight those cells, do a right click, and copy. Now you can see I've selected everything. Do you see our little box around there is moving? All right, so now I'm going to go into my Word document. This is an old paper mine wrote in grad school. So I made some room here. I think that's a lot easier when you're dealing with it, is if you give yourself some room to work. And then I'm going to do a Control V. Now it does not fit. So I'm going to do some things. If you'll notice, there's an imaginary little looking box out to the side. That is to size this. So you can size it how you want it. Okay. All right. Now this box is to move it places. Okay. All right. So that is the way we're gonna do that. Now it will still allow you to manipulate things if you need to, but we're going to leave this alone. Okay. And I'm going to move down further in my document. And I'm going to give myself some space again. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Gus's and click out of this. Hit escape to get out of that. And I'm going to go back to one of our pie charts. And I'm going to do a right click and I'm going to copy this. And Control V. Now, what you will notice is when you click on this, a lot of options come with it. So this really doesn't allow for as much change as you would want it to. So the nice thing about, the information came over, but it's truly not the table that we were you can't sort like we could in the other. Whereas this pie graph is going to allow us to have some options. So you click on it and some of our options come back up over here. One of the nice things is the layout options is if I wanted that within the paragraph. So I'm going to grab the corner and I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. Okay. Now let's say I take out some of this room with the paragraph. Okay. And I'm going to click this and I'm going to be a square. So when I did this, you can see that the text went around it. So I can move this in between, I can move it to the right, whatever I want to do. I can also, if I wanted to manipulate, because if I copy this data in, I may want to label it October payout percentage. Okay. Now, again, this stays relatively intact. If you go too small, you just simply can't see it anymore. So this is a little bit better, bigger, but this allows us to have some options. So then if I save this as a PDF, our old friend, the PDF, and let me see what I wanted to try that. Chart graph sample. And I am going to browse and I'm going to put it in my NICC folder I've got here. Oh, it's going in there now. So I'm going to hit save. All right. And by looking, whoop, and there it comes up. So the nice thing is when you are adding these, they come across very nicely. Now that, again, the table isn't quite the manipulative that you would want it to be. However, you have more options when you bring over a chart. Okay. When you save this as a PDF, you save that integrity. The problem is when you start emailing the file out, even if you save it as an open document, there are some changes that can happen. So it may not look the way you want it to. So if you were sending a paper to a professor, you may want to send that to them. If you're going to include a chart, save it as a PDF and then maybe also save it as a file, whatever their requirements are. And I say that just simply because if any part of this, the professor doesn't have that font or whatnot, You don't want it to look differently. So that's why we're doing that. Okay. So super, super easy skill. It looks very nice in your papers as you continue through school. Also, if you are with a company and you're doing some sort of a report on sales, that within your report, you can put a chart and it looks very professional. So that's how you insert your table and your chart into Microsoft Word. Thanks, guys.